want to thank you for coming. We know that there's a lot of good talks out there, so we'll try and rip through this as fast as we can. We have 20 minutes and significant amount of material to get through and a quick demo to show you kind of what we've been up to. So quick rundown. We'll do a brief introduction so you get to know who we are, talk a little bit about our Pcap attack library, the PAL, which is the focus of our research here. Give you a brief overview of how we built the PAL out, right? How we built our Pcap attack library out, what that means to you. Talk about a tool that you can use. We know there's a lot of replay tools out there, but we'll talk about the tool that we use, kind of why it's a little bit different. That Kyle actually is the one that wrote that. And then we'll talk about, if you're interested in getting involved, what you can do, right? How we built it, lessons we've learned, and then kind of where we're going in the future if you're interested in helping that out. And then lastly, we'll do our demo. So just to kind of get it started here, my name is Pat Engebretson. I teach at Dakota State University in the undergrad and graduate computer network security degrees. I focus mainly on the network side of things, so offensive networking, penetration testing side of things.
I'm Kyle Cronin. I'm a doctorate student at DSU. I do a little bit of teaching, instructor, and sysadmin in our virtualized hacker lab, so to speak. So something of a jack of all trades at DSU.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Josh Pauli. I also teach at Dakota State. So everybody from South Dakota, I know there's a couple of you. So thanks for coming, and we'll get started with Pat.
Okay, so ultimately this tool started out as a response to a need we had at the educational level, this project. And so a couple years back, we were at a workshop, and we were trying to come up with a better way to teach our students how to write ACLs, right? In particular, we were talking about snort. In our degree, we're very hands-on, so we do about 50% lecture, 50% lab. So we needed a way to talk about and demo IDS technologies, snort, and then let our kids kind of get used to writing those snort rules. And somebody at the workshop had actually created a fairly useful program. It was a C program, and they went out and captured a significantly large Pcap file. And that particular Pcap file had a lot of malicious packets in it, right? And so there was maybe 4 or 5 different rules you could write based off of this kind of one tool that just replayed this continuous loop of this traffic. So great way for us to start out, but in the end didn't work very well for us because obviously not very flexible. We couldn't add additional attacks to it. Wasn't very portable. Didn't have a lot of additional functionality. Had no additional functionality. So it was kind of the first wave of, we got the idea, the great idea. We just wanted to add to that for us. And we have a class at Dakota State. We actually have one full class that's all IDS, so becomes a big deal for us.
And the other issue with the CAN traffic that we had is it had a lot of non-attack traffic. So it had in this case, a lot of junk in it. So we couldn't parse that out really. And then it had a lot of packets that were of no value when we were learning on attack. So if a student missed a rule or mistyped a rule, they might alert on normal traffic, and they think they actually caught an attack. So we had to clean it up.
Yeah, so the other thing that we do, Dr. Paula and myself, we also serve as consultants, or we do penetration testing for a small company in the Midwest. And it's not uncommon for us to get a call from a financial institution that we do pen tests for, and they'll say, the wire's real quiet today. I'm just interested in, if you can you set my alarms off to, we're good at breaking stuff. So
make sure they're actually ready.
Yeah, so, my response is always, no problem, let me fire up Metasploit, and then they get freaked out, don't run hacker tools on my network. So what we decided to do was kind of tackle this from 2 ways then, right? So the Pcap attack library from an educational standpoint, very important, but then, from a client side as well. So you don't really have to, the goal here is you don't have to know how to perform a particular attack. Just say, I'm looking for a Pcap attack file for a port scan or for SQL injection or whatever the case may be that you're looking at. Okay, so if you're interested in security at all, I think you should probably, and you're not familiar with CAPIC, I think you should go out and take a look at it. It's a DHS sponsored dictionary, classification of attacks. Very well kept up to date, provides a lot of information about attacks, right? The goal is to classify attacks. You can go out and find that at miter.kpic.org, I think is the website. Yep. So what we decided to do, I've done a significant amount of research with KPIC over the past probably 3 or 4 years. And so what we wanted to do was add to the common body of knowledge, right? And so what we thought would be cool is if we took this KPIC standard, and we started attaching actual Pcap files to the standard, right? So instead of just going and reading about a particular description of a particular attack, you could actually also go grab the Pcap file, and replay it for yourself, right? So that was kind of the direction that we took. So when we build the Pcap attack library, there's a number of different ways you can go about doing this. We found probably the easiest way to do this, very simple network, right? One of the issues that we ran into with that first Pcap file or the traffic replay tool that we looked at was there's so much extra junk in there. So we try to streamline the attack to make it as small and as clean as possible, right? So in this particular example you see here, very simple. We take an attacker box, 99% of the time that's just going to be, backtrack with whatever tool you need to run the attack. Then the hard part, obviously, you have to set up your victim in the appropriate way. So, you need software packages or whatever you need to get installed to make your victim vulnerable. And then we dropped a snort box so we could test our rules, right? So just a number of different pieces there. It also works well if you, in many cases, if you just run one machine and have multiple VMs on it, obviously very quiet. As you'll see in the demo, that's kind of how I do it. So that works as well. You don't get a lot of extra traffic right out of here. So in our particular case, how do we build out the Pcap attack library? Simple enough. Go out to the dictionary, the KPIC dictionary, identify an attack that you want to catalog, set up your machines. That's 2 and 3 are probably your most labor-intensive pieces. Then you have to test that. So there's a significant amount of testing. We try to reuse and give credit to the snort rules that are already out there. Obviously, very supportive community and a lot of good rules out there. So we try and reuse those rules when possible. If not, we'll write a rule for it. Check and make sure that everything's running. Once your rule gets fired, it's just a matter of starting Wireshark, running the attack, stopping Wireshark. Right? Then you have a nice Pcap attack file. So when we started doing this, when we started kind of running these exercises, we were talking to Kyle, sysadmin extraordinaire, and said, there's a need out there for this ability to replay the traffic. And again, the focus of I want to really emphasize this, right? The focus of the research is not the tool here that we're giving away, but it's really more on the Pcap attack library, because you can take our Pcap files and run them through your favorite, whatever your favorite tool is. But what we wanted to do, since it started as an educational piece, it was important to us to provide a very easy GUI-driven interface for replaying this particular traffic, right? So if you're an educator and you have you're teaching an IDS class or maybe just an IDS lecture or something, and you want your students to be able to write particular snort rules, it's labor intensive for the educator, for the instructor to have to play traffic or play malicious traffic on the network for the students to pick up, right? So when we went to Kyle, and Kyle said, yeah, I can write something that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and so SprayPAL is the tool that we use to play it. But again, it plays on many different levels there, right? You can use any tool you want. So he's added a lot of different features to the tool, right? You can use one victim. When you're spraying the traffic, right? You use one victim. You can spray it. You can broadcast it out. You can use one attack, multiple attacks, right? Take all the Pcap library attacks that you want and just continuously loop them and replay them. And I think, I don't know, have we dropped the return traffic?
Yeah, we're just ignoring any return traffic. So it doesn't really have any value to us. So
yeah, as we don't want shells back, right? We don't want to replay, or we just want to nail it. So when we talk about getting involved, right? Steps are very similar to the way that we've done our stuff. Take a look at CAPIC. We've worked with DHS or CAPIC in the past based off of some of our research. So maybe we can get the research we've done folded in there. Otherwise, just contact us if you're interested in cataloging, or if you have an example of an attack Pcap file. Find the ID, the appropriate ID. All the CAPIC attacks are ID'd by number. And then we try to keep that, again, as clean, as small as possible when we get that. For our particular tool, we have to save it with the Pcap extension. So that's just a matter of adding on the Pcap extension. And then obviously, send it off to me and we'll get it folded into our work, and then we'll republish it out there for you to get it. So at this point, I think we have about, probably 15 Pcap attack files out there ready to be grabbed with corresponding snort rules. So what we try and do when we catalog an attack is we actually get the Pcap, write the snort rule, test it, put all those into one folder with the corresponding CAPIC ID, and then make that folder available as part of the library, right? So you can use the link here to go out and grab both the tool that we'll show you here in a minute, as well as the library itself of the attacks. And we're adding to those on an almost daily basis. We have a grad student who's kind of taken an interest in this as well. So these get updated. So what we're going to do is show you just a quick demo, right? So this is SprayPAL. This is the tool that Kyle wrote, and there's a lot of functionality. I know we don't have
C# because he's a sysadmin.
Yeah, I'm not a hardcore developer by any means.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. We actually have a Linux version coming, or already there. So if you're interested, you want to run it in Linux, you can do that as well.
And not only am I a bad developer, I'm a lazy one, so we're just using a WinPcap wrapper.
So there's a lot of functionality in here. You can go and manipulate MAC addresses, IP addresses, source and destination, and you can replay your traffic in loops. So if you just want to, continuously run one port scan, or one brute force attempt, or one footprinting attempt, or whatever the CAPIC attack, the Pcap file is, you can replay that over and over and over again. So in this case, what I'm going to do, I just have snort running down here, and I apologize. This is a horrible view. I realize it's probably going to be near impossible for you to see, so you're just going to have to take my word on it as an honest guy from South Dakota. Okay, so down here I have just have snort running in the background. Again, 2 VMs set up here. Up top is the local rules file. So in this case, I'll just take the first example there, CAPIC attack pattern 49, which is brute force. It's a brute force attack, and in this particular rule fires on a snort or on a SSH brute force attempt. So standard rule. So down here in this window, I have snort running with the local rule set. We just go out, find the appropriate library, and I'll just grab 49. That was the one that I have uncommented there. Say OK. Just tells us, name of the CAPIC attack, and then we should be able to send the packets. And then here we have our rule fired. I'll try and zoom this in a little bit. I'm sure it's going to blow up, but yeah, that's horrible. But you can see a little bit, right? CAPIC attack pattern 49, brute force password attempted. So it's really the purpose and the point, for us is as educators is to help our students learn how to write rules and how to kind of think for themselves and fend for themselves and inside of Snort. But this can also be extended. I know Dr. Pauli teaches a web app class as well, right? And so anything with an ACL really could be useful for web application firewalls or whatever your particular flavor is. We're just attaching onto Snort. So with that, we're actually just want to say a quick thanks to a couple people, our families, for letting us come to Vegas, surrendering us for a week to Vegas, and then also to the university. The dean, Dean Halverson, is very supportive, and as well as the university, right, for our time to work on this. So that's all we have. If you have questions, we'd be happy to answer, and Kyle can talk a little bit more about the tool if you have particular questions about the tool or the functionality as well. Yeah.
For instances where you found that Snort doesn't already have a rule set, are you feeding those rules back to community or hidden efforts like learning threads?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I mean, I'll be really honest at this point, we're really taking low-hanging fruit, right? So we're trying to match up something that's easy to grab and easy to capture, and then as well as there is an existing rule, yeah, 100%, we'll definitely be feeding those rules back in. I mean, anything that we have, without a doubt, goes back. That's a good question. Cool, just like the classroom.
Perfect. All right. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.